You name it, I've just about done it. I've done the supplements. I've done the protein coffee. I've done the healthy wellness routines, the sauna, the ice bath, lymphatic drainage massage, Pilates classes, the gym memberships, the CrossFit, the greens powders. I've watched the What I Eat in a Days. I've made What I Eat in a Days. I bought the perfect matching workout set. And honestly, some of it has helped. But some of it really did not. And even after all of those things,
after all that,
I still found myself asking the same question. When did being healthy start feeling so hard? Better yet, when did it start feeling like a luxury? Bringing back substance, depth, and character to why we love, share, and buy products. As someone who loves all things beauty, wellness, thrift, and vintage fashion, but most importantly, culturally rich experiences, I found myself craving, yearning, if you will, for something that felt like the cross between a Substack article and a traditional YouTube video. So I created it. Welcome back to the Mac Edit. My name is Nia Mac. Today, on this fine day, we're going to talk about how I got wellness pilled, and probably so did you, okay? So did you if you admit it. Because we're living through one of the most health conscious and health forward times. Yet, people are still so unhealthy. Everybody suddenly is an expert and knows all about their cortisol levels, their inflammation, their gut health, their hormones, their protein goals, biological age. And wellness has become one of my favorite hobbies. So I'm literally talking to myself, okay? I'm talking to you and I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to us collectively because we've all been affected by it, right? We've all drank the Kool-Aid. But if we slow it down, okay? If we slow it down and really think about what health used to feel like or what health used to be, health used to mean, how do I feel? Now it feels more like, what does my dashboard say? Like a car, like we're waiting for our check engine light to go off. But, I always say there's nuance, there's history, there's context, okay? I don't think it's a bad thing that we have all this data and information and we're focusing on our protein goals, our protein matcha, our protein martini, our protein powder, all of it. I love it. Give it to me, right? I don't think it's bad, but I think we should just be a little bit more cautious. We should just ask ourselves a couple more questions before it gets crazy. I think some of the information is incredible, but it continuously leaves me wondering, why do we have so much information about our health, our wellness, and yet so many of us report and are feeling unwell, overwhelmed, exhausted, sick, and unable to access the healthy life that we are trying so hard to build. It feels like you're trying so hard to build it and it keeps slipping away. I should probably take the time to mention that I do have my master's degree in public health, okay? I've been in the fitness space, I've been in the personal wellness space, I've been in the public health space and healthcare adjacent professional career field, so I know a thing or two. But I sit here in my little TED Talk corner talking to you, but also as a consumer, also as a very much a consumer of these things, is that I don't think it's my place or some other girl on the internet's place to really tell you anything professional without you seeking the professional help that should go along with it. And I don't think it's anyone's job on the internet to tell you what healthy should look like. We've been asking the wrong question. We've been asking the wrong question, not how to get your abs in 5 minutes, not how to lean out in 30 days, or not how to get a fat booty dump truck wagon, which yes, okay, we love. Beep, beep, beep. But especially, I'm talking to the girls. I think especially as women, this rise of information has benefited us so much. For so long, we were so underrepresented in healthcare, research, in the wellness space. Nobody cared. The men did not care. They did not care. They just said, hey, this should apply to women because, yeah, go ahead. Let them do what they need to do. But our bodies are so different. Our biology is so different. And this rise of information has benefited us and really brought together some insightful conversations. So let's talk about it. Women were often told, you're dramatic, you're too emotional, you're just being, you're overreacting. It's not that deep. And you know what we say on the Mac Edit? Yes, it is that deep. You're so stressed. You need to de-stress. You need to lose weight. You need to gain weight. You shouldn't do this. You should do that. Drink more water, eat, pray, love, and mind your business. But now we're finally honing in on some valuable conversations and information around our hormones, around perimenopause, around PCOS, endometriosis, ADHD in women, postpartum health, chronic conditions, autoimmune disorders. There are so many things that we're having deep and meaningful conversations, research, in-depth intellect built around women's bodies. Thank God. Thank God. It's about time. Okay, it's 2026, damn near 2027. Thank God. And I know this personally for me because, okay, for years, I've really struggled with a really bad cycle or really bad time every time of the month, okay? The girl came and I'm like, please, can this be over? The week leading into it and the period itself, the symptoms, everything, like it was unbearable. Honestly, it felt like I was literally actually losing my mind. Come to find out, when I really went and sought more professional help and also tracked the things that I was not only just feeling, but experiencing, the anxiousness, the raging anger, the disconnection, felt absolutely exhausted by it every month. And then I learned about PMDD and was introduced to it and helped to treat for it. And if you're not familiar, don't worry, I got you. Premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And so this is one of the more severe sides of hormone disruption and irregulation when it comes to intense emotional and physical symptoms that surround a woman's cycle. And learning about PMDD and going to get, treated for it didn't necessarily just like fix everything. It gave me something so powerful. Context for what was going on in my body, feeling empowered in my body, and the right information to be able to express and verbalize what was going on. And also then you can figure out how to manage and how to live your life in a way that supports what you need. Because we have just been flying by the seat of our pants, flying by our thonkinis for so long because none of it was explained or researched. But now we live in an age where that is respected and put at the forefront. And I love that. Love that for us. So then I could really stop asking, okay, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? And I could switch the question around to say, what's happening in my body? And those are very different questions and very different mental spaces to be in. So sometimes information doesn't solve the problem, but it gives you language for what you're experiencing. And that alone is so powerful. Now, we like to break down what's going on here, because as someone again who creates fitness wellness content and also is a large consumer of it, I think yet again the internet, the wide expanse of it, has misconstrued, changed, mixed up what health and what wellness are. The two things are not the same. We are not the same. They're actually very, very different. Health is largely biological, and wellness is so cultural. Health is partly what happens inside our bodies. Obviously, there's external things that play significant roles in our health. But wellness is essentially how we organize our lives, our routines, our mindset, the things that support us in our health. But it's more of a lifestyle situation than a scientific one. That's why wellness has a certain aesthetic, depending on where you are, who you are, what you like. That aesthetic can differ. But health doesn't have an aesthetic. It doesn't have a narrative. It is what it is, what it is. Like Pilates, green juice, revival of like 90s activewear vibes, wellness retreats, and boutique healthy grocery stores. Those are all wellness aesthetics and lifestyle things, but not health itself. And I enjoy many of those things, but I want us to not have that entanglement.
I got into a different kind of entanglement
of thinking that that's what healthy means. Just because you see somebody doing it online, just because you see someone with their healthy routine and doing all those things, myself included, doesn't mean that that person is healthy. Okay, I'm sorry to break it to you. It does not mean they are healthy. And sometimes health can also become performative. You know what we say about performative? No. That's why we look at beauty and makeup and hair and style and all those things as like, oh, we see the online culture of it and we associate some of those things with being performative. Health and fitness, wellness, all of that meshed together can become performative as well. So don't get it confused. Because I realized when I was looking at all of this fitness content, wellness content, the podcast, like it just kind of goes on and on and on. And again, none of those are bad. I love consuming it. But I realized what I essentially was searching for is I didn't necessarily want to be healthy. Yes, I wanted to be healthy, of course. But I realized that I had other wants and desires that were truly driving what I was going after. The aesthetic of it all. Because I could sit here and tell you my weight gain story. I can sit here and tell you my weight loss story. I can sit here and tell you about being bullied for being too thin. And then I can sit here and tell you about backhanded comments about weight gain. I'm sure some of us has stories similar, the same, or just whatever that looks like for you. Trying to become thick and have a dump trunk wagon to beat, back it up. But then also dealing with like emotional eating and then regain a level set of relationship with food. And I mean like crash out eating. I don't mean just like, oh, going to McDonald's or whatever. I mean like, oh, I'm stressed out, sad, depressed, in the dumps, so I'm going to eat an entire box of French toast sticks kind of way. So once you fix your relationship with all of those things, because you don't even have to go into one too deep to realize, is that I didn't just want to be healthy. I wanted the freedom to be healthy. I wanted to think clearly. I wanted to be comfortable and move comfortably in my own body. I wanted to sleep well. I wanted to like not have that weight on my chest of feeling like I was missing something or didn't check something off on my checklist to do. I wanted the resources and the time and the energy to be able to go out there and work out, to go for a nice long walk, the mental capacity and the clarity to be able to create and feel creative and inspired. I wanted to feel present. I wanted to show up for people in my life. I wanted to show up for myself in different ways. And I just couldn't do that. I could not do that. As life ebbed and flowed, I wasn't chasing necessarily a smaller body or a certain aesthetic. I was chasing a larger life, like a full, more present and embodied life that would allow me to be healthy. That's why the golden saying is, health is wealth, is because the real luxury of health isn't just the aesthetic of it. It's being able to participate fully in your life the way that you really want to. That's why my tagline, my golden nugget, especially when it comes to fitness, wellness, health, all of those pillars in my life, is move your body for your mind. If you follow me on Instagram, if you've been around for any amount of time, I scream this till I am literally blue in the face. Move your body for your mind. When I used to actively be personal training, I would always start with that and say like, hey, I know you have goals physically, aesthetically that you may want to achieve, but moving your body for your mind, pencil that in as one of them. And this is a very sensitive topic, and I'm always very cautious of how I discuss and have these conversations because this is very real. But I want you to know that no matter the number on the scale, no matter what your picture looks like in the mirror back at you, the real luxury of health is having a sound mind and a sound body. Full stop. And because this is a Mac edit, and like I said, I've been wellness pilled, it wouldn't be right if I didn't tell you about the stuff, my best and my worst wellness purchases, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. I've participated in the experiment. I bought the stuff. I tried the trends. I did the things. Boop to the bop. And some have genuinely supported my life. And you know that. You've seen that in the vlogs. You see that in my day-to-day lifestyle. And I love sharing what has genuinely supported my life with you all. But I also know that there are some things I've had to leave in the past, throw in the trash, and it hasn't worked out. It didn't work for me. It may work for you. If you like it, I love it. You know the rule, as long as we're not harming anybody. So let me keep it a buck with you. Let me keep it a band. They're not the sponsor of today's video, and one day maybe in the future they will be. So don't click out and be like, oh, she's just promoting the protein powder because they're sponsoring her. No, what's tea about this is I got a discount code and to become an Orgain ambassador because I genuinely have been using their products for years, since I would say probably 2021, 2020, around there, and have not switched up. This protein powder works for me, okay? You test it out, you try, you see what works for you. But Orgain has been one of my best top wellness purchases ever. This protein powder has been on auto ship ever since then. I use it in my smoothies. I use it in my overnight protein oats. I use it for different things, like different recipes. I want to do a little protein waffle, a little protein coffee, a little protein this, a little protein that. Like I said, I'm part of the experiment. I'm part of this simulation with you guys. But Orgain has been my protein powder of choice. I love this one. This is the Organic Protein Plus 50 superfoods protein powder, 21 grams of protein. And then I also have this one. This is just the regular protein powder. It doesn't have the superfoods in it, but I have them both in the vanilla bean flavor, okay? Delish, plant-based if you are someone who struggles with dairy intake, things like that, because hot girls have digestive issues. So if you do want to take a crack at it and you do want to try Orgain, I do have a discount code that they have so graciously given to me. It's M.A.C. Go get you 20% off, okay? In this economy, 20% off. Go ahead and run that. Put that in and get you a little discount. But another one of my best purchases is trying different forms of movement. Now, it may seem like a waste up front to be like, oh, I'm going to go try this workout class. I'm going to go join this gym. so forth and so on. But that's why so many gyms have like a 1 week free trial, a couple of passes, do an intro members class or a few passes, whatever it looks like for those different gyms, those different facilities, whatever it is, boop to the bop. Please go. Don't be afraid. Don't be too anxious. Overcome the gym anxiety and go try different forms of movement. You never know what's going to be your cup of tea. And also, one of the best wellness purchases that I've ever made in terms of that is, yes, you may spend a little bit of coin. But you are investing in your health and in your wellness, in your physical fitness and in your mind, okay? Once you find the thing that you wake up and you're kind of excited. Sometimes you're like, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes you wake up and you're like, I'm actually looking forward to my workout class, you know? And that may have been something that you've never experienced before, but you have to try different things to figure it out. So especially while it's summertime here in the Northeast, the sun is out longer, days are longer, take the little bit of extra time and energy that you have and go try different workout classes. Bring a friend, bring your mom, bring your daddy, bring somebody if you don't want to do it by yourself. But then you find the thing that you're like, I could see myself coming back here. Do it and do it over and again. So I've never really regretted investing in different workout classes and different movements, even though some of them have not stuck. But I've had seasons and eras that I'm like, yeah, this has been it. So I did CrossFit. I even competed in it. I've been a Pilates mommy on the Reformer for a long time, more so on mat Pilates now, heated workout classes, very New York City core. The gym strength training has always been a core principle of mine. I've had a running era. I've had the walking eras. So just invest and try and see what works for you. I promise you it'll be one of your best purchases. You won't regret it. The last thing I would say is one of my best purchases or really just investments is advocating for my health, okay? There are so many times, and I say this to you, where you are not going to feel right. You're not going to feel right. But the only person who can really convey that is you. And so let me give you a quick story time. There was a time couple years ago at this point when I was having intense chest pains. Like, I'm like, hello, Lord, is this it? Am I about to get got? Intense chest pains. And then sometimes I would at random times experience such shortness of breath. And I'm like, I'm working out, I'm in shape, I'm young, hot, wild, and free, young hoes run free. Why do I feel like I'm literally about to go into, unfortunately, cardiac arrest right now? Fast forward to, advocating for myself and being like, okay, that wasn't dramatic. It wasn't just like a one-time thing. I really need to speak up and talk to somebody about this. Come to find out, shocked, gobsmacked news to me, I was having panic attacks. And in my mind, I could not process the fact that this was a panic attack that I was having, nor could I process the fact that I was having a panic attack. Not that I think or thought that I was above it, but it just didn't register to me. It was not clocking to me that I was having a panic attack. I'm like, me? And I feel like that, especially if you've ever dealt with anything that has to do with your health or your family member's health, one of the first initial reactions if you get some kind of diagnosis or you're experiencing something in your body is you're like, me? Are you sure you got the right one? Are you sure you got the right one? It's just shocking sometimes. So I say all of that to say, and I share that honestly and truly. No one can ever know what you're going through unless you express it. I know it's really hard to have that advocacy, have that boldness in your chest and say it and do it, but you have to go out there and do it. No one can do it for you, and you don't want to end up in a situation where out of the absolute blue, you're laid out somewhere and they're like, no one ever knew. So one of the best investments you can make in your wellness is advocating for yourself at the doctors, in your workout classes. If you have to tell an instructor, hey, I need some modifications. If your doctor keeps oh yeah, it's nothing, but you're like, no, I'm still experiencing these things. Just whatever that advocacy looks like for you. You have to have a friend or someone you love and trust to help you in these spaces. Please, 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 anything you take away from this video, please advocate for your health. But sometimes healthy isn't always finding the perfect thing. It's about finding the thing that you can sustain, that it's going to last. The best workouts, like I was saying, are the ones that you feel a little bit excited to come back to tomorrow. It scratches a little itch. And the most expensive thing I've ever done, the worst, was ignore myself. So my worst purchase is too many supplements. Waste of money, waste of cash, waste of time, and honestly just putting waste into your body. I implore you, okay, just because old girl, could be me, could be somebody else, told you on the internet that you need this supplement or this is their supplement stack, so forth and so on, does not mean that you need it. Sorry to de-influence you in that way, but does not mean that you need it. Please go get your blood work done. Please go get something done. Please go get anything before you just like jump up and be like, I need to go grab every supplement off the shelf. And then before you know it, you're taking a whole supplement stack and you're like, I don't even know if it's working. I don't know what's doing, what's got going on. And you may start even taking things that are counterbalancing each other. Some are supposed to be taken in the morning. Some are supposed to be taken at night. You're taking them all at one time. Things are countering each other out, like the science of it. I'm no scientist. I'm no chemist, but it may just not be working. And that was me. That was me. So I'm here with you. I feel you and I see you, because you're like, yes, I'm ready to take my health seriously. I'm ready to like do the thing. I'm ready to be it. But just because someone is throwing a handful of supplements down their throat does not mean they're healthy, and that doesn't mean it's right for you. So for me, one of the worst things that I ever did was just start buying different supplements. And then they sat in the cabinet. Then I never really took them. So come here. Step to the plate. Go clean out that little cabinet where you have like a bunch of supplements and whatever, and you know, all the powders and all the things that you haven't even taken in months. Clear it out, get it out of the way, get it out of your mental space. Start fresh and start with what you actually need. Now, on the vein of the worst things I've ever done is doing too much. Now, you may be like, how do I know if I'm doing too much? You'll know. Okay, you'll know. We'll get back to that. But I was doing too much. There was a point last summer at one point, did a challenge for myself. I'm going to walk 4 miles 4 days out of the week. Now you're like, that may or may not sound like a lot compared to, you know, where you are. Walking 4 miles 4 days a week is basically like an hour and a half of walking in one session on top of my strength training and Pilates routine. So I was working out maybe 3 hours total each day. Now, working out that much isn't bad, and I'm not villainizing anyone who does 2-a-days, anything like that. But sometimes you can be putting so much stress on your body, which is what I was doing, that it was almost like, because I'm walking, I'm like, the weight's not walking off. What's happening here? So while it was really good at first and the concept was great because I was getting outside, I was getting up early, I was running around New York City, okay? Not running, I was walking, but I was flying, okay? By the end of the summer, but I was doing too much, just a little bit too much. I would do that long walk, and then I would go for a workout, and then I would do the Stairmaster. Like it was just too much, okay? So if you know that you're doing too much, sometimes a little bit less is more. Then this last one is some people off. It's going to ruffle some feathers. I might lose a subscriber or two, but you know, the real ones stay. Following too many fitness, wellness, you name it, creators. It starts to become an overload of information, not only from an aesthetic standpoint, because then I found myself, and you can find yourself comparing your body to like your 5 favorite fitness influencers. And you're like, damn, why don't I have a fat booty dump truck wagon simultaneously with ripped abs or whatever? Like, why don't I have whatever it is that they have in the time that they have it? And you find yourself comparing yourself to too many people. But then also on the information side, again, you may be getting competing and just a lot of information overload that you may not need. Information should support or challenge your intuition, but it shouldn't necessarily override it. You shouldn't be able to hear other people's opinions about your body before your body is even able to tell you what it wants, needs, and how it's feeling. So I had to hit unsubscribe, unfollow, block, boot to the bop, okay, for just some people. And that's just okay. That's what it is. There's no love lost, no love found, no hate, no shade, no tea. But maybe you're following one too many fitness creators. Just then after I realized I was making some bad wellness purchases, decisions, and investments, I'm like, wait a motherfucking minute. I got God. Why does it feel more expensive? And why does it feel like a personal achievement? Like you're going to get a gold star just because you're the healthiest person in the room, or perceived healthiest person in the room. But that's actually a relatively newer way. I would say it's definitely more of like the digital age, the chronically online way of thinking about it. And you know, as you're chronically online, bestie boop, your sis, I unfortunately also fell trap. But when I zoom out, and I use my big brain, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's levels to this, there's layers to this, there's nuance, there's context, there's history. So it got me to thinking about classism. Because classism is when access to opportunities becomes unequal. It becomes a scarcity. It's very unevenly distributed throughout society. In a classist framework, we end up judging the outcomes based on those personal endpoints and also detaching from the fact that not everyone started from the same place. In a classist framework, we evaluate who finished the race first and best, but we don't evaluate where everyone started on the track and what they started with, what their equipment was, what the environment was, what their training and history was prior. And that's just not the way we should be thinking about health at all. We treat outcomes as an individual rather than the environment that created them. Because if you really look, who has the time, who has the resources, who has the energy, who has the preventative care, the child care, the health care, grocery store access, mental bandwidth. Those are the people who, in a classist framework, are allowed and have the space to be healthy. Because health doesn't happen in a vacuum. It doesn't all happen at this individualistic, classist level that we like to look at it. It happens inside environments. Like, even just look at the trend of like freaking cottage cheese. Like, I know the protein and all of that, boop to the bop, it blew up, whatever, and everyone's slapping and slathering that little curds of cottage cheese on everything. But also, there was a cottage cheese brand that was very popular that all the girls were buying up. Everything was off the shelves that got bought by like a private equity company. What does private equity have to do with fucking cottage cheese? Because companies are looking for what is going to make them the profit and what people are going to need access to. So if we can buy it up and make it a scarcity and unevenly distribute this resource, now just a regular food item such as cottage cheese has become like a status symbol, a luxury. Like, if you're having cottage cheese on your toast in the morning, I know that you're a wellness girly chronically on TikTok. It's not just a regular food. If you have a certain brand of sardines, I know that you're chronically online and have been influenced by different food trends, wellness trends, and just the trends that go around come around. But it really makes you ask, okay, does this have to be something that's scarce, that's unevenly distributed? When people have been eating tin fish for decades, people have been eating cottage cheese since, the dawn of time. But now we've made it something that's a symbol of our luxury, of our, fitness, of our health and our wellness, what's on our plate. And health outcomes are so personal, so extremely personal. And access often isn't personal. The conversation with health usually starts around our individual choices, and I think that's so unfortunate. I think, and I encourage you to think about also what conditions play a role. Because when health becomes so individualized, everything becomes about what you did as a person, what you did or you didn't do, I should say, that makes you healthy and or not healthy. But that's not the case. It's not the case. It's not the tea. So if you're stressed out, you made yourself stressed out. If you're sleep deprived, it's because you didn't lock up your phone at night. If you're burnt out, it's because you're the one who put too much on your plate or you can't handle what's going on. If you don't have a fit physique, it's because you don't have the discipline to go to the gym 5, 6, 700 times a week. Everything becomes, what are you doing? What are you doing? What have you done for me lately? And it becomes something, yet another thing that being chronically online has told us to optimize. Meanwhile, we know and we have seen in our own lives and across the world, across our humanity, that some societies treat health as a community and a social opportunity and a social and community priority instead of just something to optimize. Now, if you're not familiar with blue zones, let me put you on game. There was like this huge documentary that came out, I believe it was National Geographic. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. About blue zones, right? The concept of blue zones is about these geographic regions across the world, very different backgrounds, very different climates, very different people, very different culture, very different traditions, but all of them have something extremely valuable, important. You see people in these areas, in these pockets, exceptionally long and full, robust lives, often reaching 100 and over. That's basically the marker. And this is like 10 times higher than the global average of how long people are living. On another side of Netflix, on another side of TikTok, on another side of the health and wellness coin is the concept of biohacking. This leans more into the optimization technological age of health and wellness. I found so interesting because I went and watched a documentary and I was just very enthralled and fascinated by it. This American tech founder, entrepreneur, his name is Brian Johnson, but now he's most known for being this guy who's essentially biohacking his way, paying his way into being the healthiest version of himself, allegedly. He reports that he spends roughly $2 million, if not over probably at this point, on his health and wellness routine every single year. $2 million $2 million American USD. That's a lot of freaking money. And his goal is essentially that he's trying to reverse his biological age. And biological age isn't just, okay, you had your birthday, Merry Christmas, you blow out your candles on the cake. It's basically the measure of how well your body is functioning from a biological and physiological standpoint at a cellular and molecular level. So basically reflecting how well is your body responding to the wear and tear that life is putting on it. So you may be 35, but you may have the bones and the rickety crickety cracks of someone who's 65, right? That's not great, not wonderful, amazing for the longevity community. And so Brian Johnson, he lives his life and executes this very, very rigorous, intense lifestyle that is dependent on metrics, intense routines, highly data driven and data focused. And he turned it into this project, which is called Project Blueprint. It's an extreme diet, hundreds of supplements each day, sleep optimization, rigorous workout routine, you name it. It's all accounted for in this project of trying to reach the most optimal biological age. It is almost the complete opposite of the blue zones and what they have going on. So I'm asking myself, if we have this group of people who are living mostly in like more remote, rural regions, taking a very natural, organic, and I don't mean organic and just like, oh, there's an organic label slapped on your apple. I mean like a very raw, real, authentic, with the land, touching grass, putting your Timbs on the concrete kind of way in the blue zones and living to 100 and greater. And then you have on the opposite end, someone who is quite literally trying to almost like reverse their age. Where do we go from here? What do we do? So while we have biohackers like Brian Johnson who spend millions of dollars of dolores, artificial intelligence, data, and experimental medical technology to try and reach this point of longevity, to literally try and live forever. Blue zone residents, we see achieve this almost effortlessly, just very cash, just very no pressure, just very, we do what we know what we need to do. Because I think what they do know in the blue zones is that it's not that deep, but it is that deep. It's deeply baked into and embedded into your daily lifestyle. It's not something you have to track on every single metric. The people in the blue zones are gardening, they're walking, they're cooking their home cooked meals, spending time with their families, they're going bowling, they're volunteering, they're wearing their 6-inch stiletto pumps in the club and going on sunset walks, they're laughing with one another. That's what people in the blue zones are doing. Okay, they may not be standing on the couches in the club with tequila and 6-inch stiletto pumps, but maybe. But there's this fascinating rise with the biohacking. Track everything, measure everything, weigh everything out. And again, I'm not anti-data, not at all. I love it. I think it's great tools and great usage. Trust me, I use it in my everyday life. I'm not anti-products. I'm not anti-wearables. I love all those things. But I also have, even in my own personal experience, had to manage and weigh, okay, where do I feel most comfortable with this? I used to wear an Apple Watch around the clock, and then eventually I found myself just trying to close my rings for the sake that I was closing my rings, but I wasn't actually in tune with what my body maybe needed that day. Especially as a woman, especially dealing with PMDD, some days you don't need to go walk 4 miles and then hit a workout. Some days you need to just lay in the freaking bed. Okay. But I think these tools have genuinely helped me. I'm sure there's some that have genuinely helped you. Collectively, we've all benefited so much and have so much release from the information, from the tools, and from the technology that we see right now. But I think something super interesting happened. The more we start to measure health, the more it relates to our checklist, the more it relates to just having things to do, putting almost more on our plate unintentionally, while it should be something that's very intentional with how we take care of ourselves. Metrics can inform your health. That's why you go get your labs done. That's why wear your Apple Watch, your Whoop, your Aura, all the things. But they can't live the life for you. So I think at the end of the day, of course, you have to do what fits you best and also what you're interested in and all of the things. But healthy societies don't just produce individually healthy people. They create conditions, an environment, an atmosphere that allows people to make healthier choices. And I will stand on that. Period. There was a little bit of a viral moment of this debate between Jillian Michaels and body positivity movement activists and advocates. Now, regardless of what you think about either of their messaging or movements, I think the video itself and the concept of it is exactly what I'm talking about. We're so busy arguing about what does the picture of health look like rather than creating the environments that are actually going to allow people to make healthy choices. And that's crazy. So I say all of this to say, I say all of this to say. Maybe that's why so many of us feel exhausted, and we probably are running down our health even more because we're trying to check things off of our checklist rather than being intentional about what healthy actually is to us and also what wellness looks like in our lifestyle. We're not just pursuing health, we're pursuing time, we're pursuing energy, we're pursuing connection, we're pursuing authenticity, we're pursuing love, we're pursuing mental soundness and clarity, we're pursuing freedom. And maybe health never really became a luxury in and of itself, but maybe, just maybe, what feels luxurious is having enough of those things to be able to participate in your own life that has enough meaning and character where you can feel healthy and present. So I don't think I was ever really fully chasing these aesthetic things that, I like and love and still participate in. But I think my biggest overarching goal, and I hope that you leave this video feeling empowered to do, is have the freedom to live your life well. Because I have a very strong feeling deep in my heart, deep in my soul, that that's what a lot of us are actually looking for. So I love you so much, and I'll catch you on the next Mac Edit. Bye.